Hello everybody. While I've been locked down, I thought I'd go over one of my editing techniques in Lightroom. We can also do it in Photoshop, a bit more technical in Photoshop, but we'll do it in Lightroom. And it's one of the sliders I absolutely love, and it's the Dehaze. The Dehaze is so powerful on a raw file, it's amazing. Whether you want to create a little bit of mist by dropping down the Dehaze, or really bringing detail out by upping the Dehaze, selected areas, things like that. So we'll go over it in Lightroom. I've got a perfect picture which I've already edited and done, but I'm going to go over it again and re-edit it, and we'll have a look what I've done. And we'll go from there and just show you the power of the Dehaze slider. So let's get into it. Right, so I've chose this image here. I took it a couple of weeks ago. A foggy, misty, beautiful morning. I thought, gotta get out. A little slight frost on the ground, but I thought I gotta get out. So I get out, go walk around. By now you'd have seen the vlog, to be honest with you. So lovely local walk. Got the drone up, got it above the fog and all this and the other. And I thought I'd finished taking my images, to be honest. And I'm walking back through one of the fields I have to walk through every time I walk out. We've got the abandoned building one side and then this image the other. Now this image, where this is being taken, they're planning to build on it. So locally there's a bit of an uproar about it. But anyway, that's the history of this image. So I took the image. The settings are f11, 16mm, ISO 100, 1/60th of a second. Lovely and foggy. So I'm going to start at the top of the sliders. We'll work our way down until we get to that exciting Dehaze slider. Right, so I'm just going to up the contrast a little bit. I'm not going to change the highlights. Actually, I might do a little bit. We'll just up it a little bit. Shadows, I'm going to up the shadow, drop the shadows slightly. We'll probably adjust all these again. I'm just little tweaks for now, and then we'll get into it. Whites, I'm not going to really change too much. I might just up it a little bit, because what I'm looking at, if we up it right up, we're starting to get where the sun's diffused through the fog, which is really what I'm looking for. So let's leave the whites as they are on that slider. Blacks, I want to up the blacks a little bit because I'm looking for this silhouette in the tree. What I've got to watch is I don't darken this bottom area too much, but we can deal with that. So I've upped the blacks a little bit. Texture, not going to bother at the moment. Clarity, not going to bother. Dehaze. Let's have a look what the Dehaze does to the image, especially on something like this that's got fog in it. So if we Dehaze down, we can basically make, just let the computer catch up. Right, that's the Dehaze right down. So we can really create a foggier scene if we wanted to, by just dropping the Dehaze. Or if we wanted to just make that top half of the image more misty, we can just put a filter in and just Dehaze that section. But what happens if we throw it the other way? And what it does is starts to bring the diffusion of the sun out, darkens this foreground, but what it's basically doing is bringing all the detail out that's been saved in that raw file. It's even showing the dirt spots on the lens. Oh. So if we do dehaze, just be careful of that. So that's the dehaze right up. We're obviously not going to bump it right up to that, but I'm going to bump it up a fair old bit. But what I think I'm going to do is we'll centralise that dehaze, double click on the dehaze, and it'll go back to 0. What I think I'm going to do is just dehaze the top part. So we'll pick a gradient filter, we'll drag it where we want, somewhere there. We'll put that text, we'll set it to normal, which is, if we just click on effects, it sets everything to normal, all the sliders, and then we'll up the dehaze. So we're not touching the grass area. Now, what I don't like is this blue area here. So what I'm going to do with that is just drop the saturation down to make it look a little bit more natural. We can up the dehaze a little bit, and I can also, because it's a bluey colour, if I go into the colour sliders, the saturation, I can just drop that colour down. So I'm not touching any, because I quite like this yellow, slight yellow glow from the sun trying to be coming through the image, coming through the fog. And we could even up the yellows a little bit if we wanted, just to give it a little bit of colour there. So we'll just go back up, and I'm just going to up the dehaze a little bit more, because I'm happier with the colours now, and press done. Now let's just have a little look by a few little sliders what the difference is. Now that is totally transformed the image by just a couple of sliders, not even doing any local adjustments. What I tend to do now is, so we'll just put it back a minute, I like to just bring a little bit of, if you like, dodge and burn on this bottom area. I want to keep this quite dark here, because it's an area not so interested, but what I like is that these lines draw you into the image, into the tree, so I don't want to get rid of it completely. So what I'll do is I'll select an adjustment brush, I'll set everything to 0, and then I'll just up the exposure slightly, and we'll just paint that in there, and we'll paint that in there, and it's just as if the sun's just trying to come through and round that tree. And obviously we can adjust that as little or as much as we want, and it's just a little bit of basic dodge and burn. So I'm happy with that, just touched it. We'll go for a new brush, so just click on new, reset. We'll go, I'm going to go up the texture to about 50, and I'm just going to paint over the tree, because I want this tree, certainly in the middle, nice and sharp and contrasty, just to really bring that silhouette out. That is looking really nice. Done. One of the other things we must do before we go any further is chromatic aberration and the enable profile corrections. Now obviously, because we've upped that dehaze, it's almost give it this vignette, but we could add a vignette if we wanted, but I'm not going to, but we can do. I'm just trying to show you what can actually happen to the image. We'll cancel that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the dehaze tool again, just to show you another aspect of using the dehaze. We're going to pick the radial filter, we're going to put a circle over where the sun is, or where the sun's trying to burn through. We'll up the temperature so it's slightly yellow. Now it's doing the outer part of the circle. I forgot to invert it, so we'll just invert. So all it's doing now is that inner selection. So I'm basically trying to make it look as if the sun's just coming through a little bit more, and that's obviously way too much. But if I drop it right back down, only into yellow or into warmth. But then if we get the Dehaze and drop the Dehaze down, it just gives it that feel as if it's bursting through, because we're dropping the Dehaze down and it's giving that little bit of a mist to that area. Probably just going to up it a little bit, and I've just shown you that to give you an idea of what you can actually. We'll press done, and it just looks as if that sun's trying to burst through that little bit more than what it actually was, and it gives another bit of interest to the image, and that is looking very, very nice. I still think it's a little bit too blue around the edges. I'm going to crop it as well, because I don't think we need everything. I'm going to do it as a 5:7 crop. We'll just put everything where I want it to be. There we go, cropped. Let's have a quick look. I think that's a little bit better, a little bit more. We've got rid of some of the disinterest in it, but you obviously get a feel of that mist and fog rolling through, but you also get that feel of the sun trying to burst through that fog. I think it's still the image is a little bit blue up at this top corner. Now I'm just going to drop the temperature down a slight little bit, because it'll get rid of that blue and it'll bring out the orange of the sun. And I might just drop that down a little bit more, the blue saturation, which I think that looks, it's a more balanced image with the colour now. That is really nice. So let's just compare again. Let's just put that up. We'll just compare images before and after, and that is an absolute massive improvement. And it's, for me, it's all down to that Dehaze, and it looks amazing. So I think we'll get that printed off and then see what it looks like in a print. So we're going to print it off and just see how nice it prints off. Just before I do that, what I'm going to actually do, I'm just going to back to adjustments, and I'm just going to up the exposure slightly, nearly half a stop, because when I print it off it'll be slightly darker, or it tends to. So I've just upped it. Let's get it printed off and have a look. Okay, the print, I think it looks fabulous. I don't know if you get the honest, can you see that? But I think that looks superb. What a beautiful image, and just made that little bit better with that bit of more character and detail and atmosphere by using that Dehaze and upping the Dehaze where you want it to, and dropping it where you need it to as well. And I think that's a super image in a lockdown. I'm really pleased. That'd look nice on any wall, anywhere. I'll tell you what I'll do. If any of you are interested in this image, put your comment in below and I'll post it to you. I'll choose one person and I'll get that posted to you. I'll message you and I'll get it to you. How about that? But I think that's a lovely image. So please make a comment, any comment, and just say, put a thumbs up for the image if you wanted the image or something like that. Anything you like. I'll pick somebody to some lucky winner, and I'll send this image off to you, and I hope I see it on your wall, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Cheers guys.